Dear viewers, welcome to this YouTube channel. In this chapter, there will be an explanation on the meanings of the planets, as follows. The explanation will be focused on the repetition and description on the previously mentioned meanings of the planets in earlier chapters. However, they were divided into categories and sections which could lead to understanding difficulties or confusion. This chapter is therefore a summary of different meanings that are related each planet. This will serve as repetition and clarification that should cover every topic as existing information could afford. In order to summarize to encourage easier understanding, examples, if there are any, will be included. Although it is hard to cover every aspect, all of the 10 planets are comparable to primary colors that have distinguished meanings. Therefore, they ought to be considered separately as they have very broad sense of meanings. The most distinguished meanings according to the existing data and records will be clarified. Meanwhile, the less explicit meanings will not be mentioned for the time being. When a planet has a certain dignity and is in a certain house, it will have different meanings in various contexts. For example, Tonu said, Tonulak, outer house planet and inner house planet will have different meanings given that they have certain dignities and are in certain houses. The same contexts, but in different status. For instance, Saturn, 7, careful consideration and no consideration, Mercury, 4, verbal and non-verbal, Mars, 3, diligent and lazy, etc. When mentioning about positive planets, the term will be generalized for these planets. For instance, if Saturn, 7, is positive, it will imply that it has domicile, exaltation, or Moha Chakra dignity. If Saturn, 7, is negative, it will imply that it has detriment or debilitation dignity. Positive or negative planets is a generalized term for the planets that possess an arbitrary dignity. Neutral planets are planets that have a neutral dignity. A positive planet usually has good and precise meanings whether or not it is related to the ascendant. On the other hand, a negative planet has imprecise and generalized meanings depending on the bhava and the relation to the ascendant. Therefore, negative planets are harder to understand and are more complicated than positive planets. As a result, they should be avoided or used for interpretation last. There must be a careful verification such as Mars, 3, or Tonulak transits into Karma Bhava, etc. In case Rahu, 8, is positive, it will usually make the native becomes indulged in something or becomes tricky and dishonest, which will lead to very negative outcomes for the native. Although it is considered beneficial normally. For example, making the horoscope or financial bhava becomes stronger, the case of Rahu, 8, is therefore a special case which has to be explained in details, including real-life examples later on. Tonu said and Tonulak are also very important in predicting the horoscope. From observations and collecting data for quite some time, they can be considered very reliable and accurate, especially when it concerns the native's character. Moreover, Tonu Bhava, Tonu said and Tonulak cannot be forgotten since they play a significant role in determining the character. After understanding the primary basis of predicting, the details will then be described next. The Sun, 1, has primary meanings of honor, glory, pride, dislike losing face, like being praised, punctilious, ceremonial, like being well-dressed and egoistic. In case it represents a mineral, it would be gold. It has broad meanings, so they have to be used appropriately. These meanings cannot be used all at once since it depends on the current issue being considered. 1. The sun, 1, is Tonu said. It implies that the native is full of pride and dislike losing face. Concisely, without referring to the dignity and bhava or house, it is a subject that is separately described. 2. The sun, 1, is Tonulak. Tonulak, or a ruling inner planet in Tonu bhava. The native is full of pride and hate losing face. It doesn't matter where the planet is and what dignity it has, the native's character remains the same because it is his, her innate character. His, her true nature. In case it relates to the ascendant, it will be even more obvious since the characteristics will be remarkable. In case it doesn't relate to the ascendant, these characteristics will not be noticeable, but the native still possesses these traits as both inner traits and inner self. The dignity and bhava are also involved. In case Tonulak transits into Kama bhava, the native is usually obsessed or busy with work. If there is no work and Mars, 3, is not related to the ascendant, it means the native is lazy. Most importantly, do not forget that when Tonulak planet conjoins with other planets, they will affect the behaviors or skills according to the meanings and dignities of the planets, no matter how many they are. For instance, the sun, 1, is Tonulak that conjoins with debilitation dignified Mars, 3, and detriment dignified Saturn, 7, in a non-ascendant related bhava. The native will therefore be constantly diligent at times, but will not be able to achieve something out of it, as well as having too many scattered thoughts. If Tonulak doesn't conjoin with the planets, the native will become lazy and will not think as much. In case Tonulak conjoins with Jupiter, 5, and does not relate to the ascendant, the native will be virtuous, soft-hearted, compassionate, and likes to please the seniors. Though they will not feel grateful for the hard work and will constantly keep the native busy with assignments. Jupiter, 5, is not auspicious and therefore not helpful. The Sun, 1, is positive or neutral and relates to the ascendant. The native will become full of pride, hate losing face, and arrogant. These traits will be demonstrated to the public. If the dignity of the planet is neutral or ordinary, these traits will only be fair. If it conjoins with the ascendant and has domicile dignity and as Tonulak, or Tonu said, they must also be included. When the dignity is exaltation, the aloofness will be constantly high. Meanwhile, Mahachakra dignity will not indicate a lot of aloofness in general, but when there is something that affects the native, these traits will be shown in a surprising manner which could lead to an outburst. Raja Yoga, on the other hand, implies that these traits will be demonstrated according to the emotions. The degree in percentage will be according to the relation, conjunction, opposition, sextile, and trine. As a positive planet that relates to the ascendant, it is considered auspicious. Even though the native has a lot of pride and aloofness, she will still be a well-mannered person. Therefore, the native will gain popularity and praises from the peers. The Sun, 1, is positive or neutral and does not relate to the ascendant. In case it is not related to the ascendant, the native will be arrogant and dislike losing face, though these traits will not be demonstrated. It is not easy to notice from the outside, but these traits will still be there on the inside according to the meanings and dignity of the planet. As a non-ascendant related planet, it is considered inauspicious. Even though it is a positive planet, it will not be beneficial since the native will not be popular amongst the peers due to these traits being unnoticed. The Sun, 1, is negative and relates to the ascendant. The native will be unreasonably and foolishly arrogant and aloof. These traits will be noticeable from the outside. The degree in percentage will be according to the relation, conjunction, opposition, sextile, and trine. As an ascendant-related planet, but with a negative dignity, it is considered inauspicious. Auspiciousness is a neutral word. When it is positive, it is called auspicious. When it is negative, it is called inauspicious. A negative planet that encourages demonstration of negative behaviors will not lead to popularity amongst the peers. Although there are some positive sides when the Sun, 1, is negative. The traits such as arrogance and pride will make the native hesitate on cheating since it will be shameful. Therefore, it could prevent the dishonest traits from Rahu, 8, to a considerable degree. See study cases. The Sun, 1, is negative and does not relate to the ascendant. If it is not related to the ascendant, the native will not be aloof at all, even though it will be up to a certain degree as inner traits, but it will be negligible. As a non-ascendant related planet, it is considered inauspicious and negative. Furthermore, it does not encourage demonstration of behaviors and therefore will not lead to popularity amongst the peers. Although there is a positive side that is modesty, the negative side, such as doing things that could lead to embarrassment or shame, including cheating, are also presented. 3. The Sun, 1, as external factors, represents bright red color and gold. Gold mineral will be auspicious with the native that has the Sun, 1, as a positive planet that relates to the ascendant. Even though it is unrelated to the ascendant, it can still be considered as a positive planet. However, it may not be as auspicious as it should be, so that it does not lead to a successful competition against other business rivals. The planet can be in any other bhavas, except Mahana, and the meanings of the bhava as well as the percentage of the relation should also be included. 4. The Sun, 1, together with its pair will be able to enhance or suppress other planets' influence. Even though the Sun, 1, is related to the behaviors and proud, it still plays a significant role in affecting other planets' influence. For instance, when it is conjoined with its friendly pair Jupiter, 5, both of them will be enhanced. The seniors will become supportive towards the native and have the power to do so. When it conjoins with its kindred pair Venus, 6, it will become more powerful and the lustfulness may be increased as well. Therefore, life could be affected by these things. No matter if the Sun, 1, is positive or negative, if it relates to the ascendant and Mars, 3, and all represents Tonu said, all three conditions, plus conjoining with Jupiter, 5, these planets will help to suppress the negative influence of Rahu 8. Even though Rahu 8 is powerful, the traits such as indulgence, cunning, trickery will be greatly reduced. Read further case studies. 5. The Sun 1 has influence over the strength of the house. Bhava or house will become strong or weak depending on the dignity of the planet. It doesn't matter if it is a large or small planet. If Tanu Bhava has the Sun 1 that is positive and conjoins with the ascendant or is Tanulak, the native will have a strong horoscope according to the dignity of the planet. Therefore, life will become successful in an easy way. When the horoscope is weak, it would still be alright. In case Kadampa Bhava, the financial house has the Sun 1 that is positive as an outer house planet or as the ruling house, the native will be wealthy according to the dignity of the planet. Therefore, the fate of the native may differ depending on the dignity of the Sun 1. Although the Sun 1 is considered neither beneficial nor harmful in itself, the dignity of it and the relations to others will greatly affect the outcome. The bhavas too may also affect the outcome. Please stay tuned for the upcoming episodes.